Now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
Oh. All right, this is the mayor of the airways. How you doing? Could we please frame this up so we have not so much stuff above my head? Thank you. We had some other characters in here last night, and everything gets adjusted. They have to readjust it to me. We have former U.S. diplomat David Hunter in here. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Rhett.
Israel intelligence claims UNRWA staffers helped Hamas on October 7th. Israel provided the UN with intelligence claiming UNRWA staff in Gaza were involved in helping Hamas in the October 7th terror attack. But the Israeli dossier, which suggests Hamas recruited or enlisted UNRWA staff, was released just one day after UN's International Court of Justice reached verdict that Israel likely committed genocidal acts in Gaza. What do you think is going genocidal? They're defending themselves. So anyway, war is war. What a bunch of crap, genocide. And here the Hamas has said they want to destroy the Jews. What do you say about that? Let's say we'll run focus.
Yeah.
What about the fact that Hamas says they want to utterly destroy the Jews?
Actually, they haven't said that.
David, yes, they have.
Rhett,
absolutely.
Rhett, you asked me a question.
They said they want them
Rhett,
off the land.
They want
entirely.
them off the off the land is not the same thing as destroy the Jews. Keep this in mind, Rhett. What we're talking about here in this dispute, I've said it many times. This has been going on for a long time. This is a land dispute. I've looked at the history of this going back to 1947 and even before. And this is essentially what happened was Israel, the Zionists in particular, decided that they thought that God had given them that land, and therefore they decided they would come back and move in there after 1,800 years and come back and say, hey, get off this land. This is my land.
This land is my land, and it ain't your land. Yeah. Get off of our land.
Yeah, anyway, so that's what started this dispute.
Yeah.
The Israeli Zionists said, I want back on this land of Zion, and God has given it to me. Here's the Bible that proves it, so forth and so on.
It is historic, yes.
Well,
God gave them the land.
Well, anyway, so that is the basis for the dispute. It is a land dispute. They are fighting over land. Now, to be honest, and I want to...
be honest, does that mean you weren't honest?
No.
See, remember I had somebody teach me when I was very young, don't say that. Be honest. Can I be honest? I've been hold on, I've been listening to a progressive radio station nationally on what do you call it, radio? Sirius Radio. And you know what?
They use that a lot?
It's they use that a lot, this lady.
Can I say, how about to be frank?
You can be Frank, you can be Al. I don't give a damn who you are.
To be frank. All right.
But you can't be honest because he left the room.
Hey! Okay, to be frank.
Honest has left the room. He's hiding in his tomb.
And Frank is back. Okay. To be frank.
No groaning in there, or I sing more.
Yeah.
More groaning.
Right.
I brought my earplug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's all have fun out here. These are serious topics. There is a lot of angst and pain on both sides of this dispute, but it is a land dispute, and many of the I want to raise this because it's going to be a confrontation anyway, and we might as well get it out of the way. There's this.
It's now time for confrontation.
Yeah, there is the claim that Hamas is a terrorist organization. Now, you're saying...
No.
You're saying...
No, you're kidding me there, huh?
Well, I want to
Gee, they came in and raped women and killed children and killed men and killed grandmas and grandpas right in front of the little baby children?
Yeah, well...
That's Hamas.
Well, I should point out, by the way...
Well, we agree to that they came in on October 7th and killed all these people.
They did. And I should point out, by the way, that today, this is breaking news, today... there was discovered 30 body bags laying in front of an UNRWA school. UNRWA is that organization you were spelling out, the UNRWA. That UNRWA is actually the UN organization.
30 bags?
30 bags.
Why wouldn't they just bury them?
With bodies were dropped at a UNRWA school.
What's an UNRWA school?
A school run by
UN?
This is the UN Relief and Works Agency, which is the official group assigned to assist what's called Palestinian refugees that were pushed off their lands after the 1947 takeover by Israel.
1947. Yeah.
1947 takeover by Israel. Once Israel took over, we call it the war, whatever, these people, 87% of the land was occupied or taken over by Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that lived on that land either were fled and pushed out to Jordan and Syria and other Lebanon, millions were sent out, or they were sent to areas like Gaza and the West Bank. At that time, the West Bank was actually part of Jordan. It was called part of Transjordan. Anyway, so the UN Relief and Works Agency was established to provide humanitarian help to these displaced people. They're called IDP, internally displaced people. And so they set up a very sophisticated organization to help these people, tents, food, education, schools. I mentioned schools.
Yeah.
UNRWA school. As I say today, at one of these UNRWA schools in Gaza was dropped 30 body bags with Hebrew writing on them, and inside were bodies that had been, their hands were tied behind their back and they had been executed.
Yeah.
So,
were they Jews?
No, they were not Jews. They were Palestinians who had been executed by the Israelis. Okay? Now, obviously...
Well, we don't know that.
Well, it looks like it,
this
certainly...
This is conjecture on your part.
It is what you call circumstantial evidence.
Do you think the Jews would be dumb enough to put Hebrew on the bags and leave them there, 30 dead bodies?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's not dumb enough. It's not dumb enough. What I'm going to suggest here is this is another escalation by Netanyahu and his government. Keep in mind, the International Court of Justice had ruled last week that Israel is at least suspected of genocide and should immediately reduce the civilian harm, the killing of civilians, and provide...
How do you do that in war? Why didn't we do that to the Germans?
Oh, okay, Rhett.
Or why didn't we do it to Americans when we did... Come on,
Let's
How in the hell
listen,
did... No.
Listen. Yeah,
what?
Whataboutism is not the right answer. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Okay, let's forget about what about.
Yeah,
You're not a warring individual.
Yes.
You go in there. This is not a time to play games. And on top of that, by the way, the 30 bags, let's say it was Israel. It doesn't mean it was Netanyahu. It means that maybe some of the soldiers are evil. There's bad Israel soldiers, there's bad Pakistanis, there's bad everybody.
Actually, we're going to talk about what's allegedly bad UNRWA workers.
What's bad is that these sons of bitches started it.
All right,
Hamas started October 7th.
Rhett, no foul language. No,
they started it.
No foul language.
We're going to finish it.
No foul language.
Wipe them out.
No foul language. Okay, and none of that genocide talk by you.
Wipe them out.
No, that's not
They
right.
want to wipe out the Jews.
No, they don't. As I said before, they want the Jews to remove themselves from the land that they have taken.
Well, guess what? It's not going to happen.
Well, guess what?
There's
You don't know.
I do know. Yes, I do.
You don't know.
I
You
do
are
know.
not a prophet.
I am.
You are not
My
a prophet.
Father in heaven will prevail, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Okay.
He will.
Yeah.
Mark my words this day.
We're going to...
the Bible says,
Rhett,
let no liar shall enter the kingdom of God. I will
Rhett,
tell you now,
we will talk,
the God of Israel shall prevail.
Okay, we're gonna talk about some of this profiteering later in the show when we talk about the
Look, I don't want children
Christian
killed.
Zionists.
I'm a wimp too, but you know what? You don't know war, and I don't know war.
Yeah. Well, I may know a little bit more about war than you do.
No, you don't know nothing about war. You ever been in war?
I have been in very dangerous situations.
Oh, so have I.
Rhett,
no,
don't tell me that. No, I've been in dangerous situations.
I was a diplomat too, you know.
Yeah, right. Okay, you had an armored car too, right? Yeah, exactly. And
no, did you?
Yes, of course. We talked about that on the show.
You did have an armored car.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Okay.
Well, guys like you need it. You have big mouth.
Okay. So anyway, what I want to point out here is regarding the claim of whether Hamas is a terrorist organization or not.
Yeah.
One of the issues with this current dispute about UNRWA employees, we're going to call them UNRWA, UN Relief.
What you're suggesting is it's okay to terrorize in retribution because they're held captive in this land of Hamas, not Hamas, Gaza.
Actually, if you want to go back to the claim of the president of Turkey,
Now, what the
Erdogan.
heck is he doing involved in this now?
the president of Turkey. Turkey is
Yeah.
a big country, as I said,
Yes.
really big
You've
country.
been there, right?
I have been to Istanbul. I've been there. It's a beautiful
You're the
place.
one that thwarted Quayle from going.
Yeah. Anyway, no, that was not to Istanbul. That was to the Anatolia area, which was dangerous. The Anatolia
not
on the
the
border
same-
of Syria, on the border of
okay.
just to the edge of Syria. That's still a dangerous area.
Got to watch out for them Syrians, right?
Well, you got to watch out for people operating in that area. There's terrorists and
They can do
kidnappers.
They can do some Syrian damage.
Yeah, they could.
Serious
so
damage.
I get you.
Syrian
I get
damage,
you.
yeah.
Anyway, so Turkey, the president of Turkey has said, and I quote,
Yeah.
Hamas is not a terrorist organization.
Who said this?
This is the president, Mr.
yeah, yeah.
Erdogan.
Oh, okay. What did this fool have to say?
He's not a fool. He's the
a
president
fool.
of a
He's
major
a
country.
Fool.
He's the president of a major country.
I, the mayor of the airways,
Rhett.
declare him. The
Okay.
declaration shall go forth across the nations.
Okay, Rhett.
Fool.
Rhett, you should listen to the bell and remember what it means. You
No.
even
Stop being
Hannity.
Hannity. Oh, God, help me if I'm Hannity.
Okay.
Oh, no, I don't
All
want to
right.
be him.
You don't
No,
want to be
no,
him.
no,
Okay.
no, no.
All right. That was our editor there.
Yeah, but he's
behind this
making
glass.
$32 million a year more than me.
Yeah. Well, good. You can go work for Fox. And
You know, his manager lives in town. I told you I had lunch with him twice, right?
Okay. Anyway, let's go back to this very important topic, which is that the Turkish president has said that Hamas is not a terrorist organization, but a group for the liberation to protect their land and citizens. Okay? That's what he said. Now,
This is my new personal guard.
yeah,
She's
good.
come in.
You came in
Don't,
with your.
don't let your eyes not
Yeah.
pay attention. Nobody's
Okay.
supposed to know she's in the room
All
right
right.
now.
Any-
She's not on
anyway.
camera.
Yeah.
Bring any quiche? No quiche
Okay.
today.
Okay. Anyway, I want to run down the list of who thinks Hamas is a terrorist organization and who doesn't.
Okay.
That's an important distinction
right.
because we in the United States we have designated Hamas as terrorist organization since 1997. Okay.
Yes.
Now the EU, after the 2001 attack on the World Trade Center, they designated Hamas as a terrorist organization along with a lot of other Muslim groups.
Okay.
But in 2014, they removed them from the group.
Hold just a second. Can you make it so she's in the camera, or are you already
Yeah.
doing that?
Okay,
Because
so-
you know why?
Yeah.
Even if she just goes no, yes, or grunts once in a while, it adds a whole other dimension to the show. Well, that's why Howard Stern has that girl behind the glass. Just no, I don't think so. You only
All
hear
right.
from her once every half an hour, but
All
it
right.
makes you think, oh, so we got another opinion
Yeah.
here, and it's a
Okay.
feminine,
And
female
I bet you
opinion.
still haven't got the audience clap button fixed yet, right?
Oh, the clap button. Do we have clap? I hope not. That was big in the 60s, you know. Do you remember?
Downloaded something. I forget if it got pushed to the board.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back to the show. The EU, they removed Hamas from the terrorist designation in 2014, but they reinstated them back as terrorist again
Smell good. You smell good.
in 2019. Okay, 2019. You paying attention? So 2019. So they were terrorist for a while, then they weren't terrorist, and now they're terrorist again. Okay,
yeah.
that's the European Union, France, Germany, all those countries. Canada designated them in 2002, shortly after the World Trade Tower attack. And the UK also designated them after the World Trade Tower attack as a terrorist group. Okay, but only the military wing, not the entire Hamas. Now, this is important because Hamas, just like the Hezbollah in Lebanon, they have a military wing. In Hamas, it's called the Al-Qassam Brigade. And then they have a civilian sector. Keep in mind that Hamas in Gaza is running the government. They have people administering.
Bullying.
They have people administering.
Bullying. The bullying. They
all
got.
right.
Now, do you think the Pakistani people in freedom
Pakistani?
What, not Pakistani, whatever it is. What's the name of the people down there?
Palestinian, like think of
Do
it like
you
a
think
palace.
the Palestinians in Gaza
Yeah.
truly and freely elected Hamas as their leader? If they did, then the consequence is they got their consequence.
Well, actually, this is what happened in 2005. They had
All right,
they
this
had
is
it.
actually what happened.
This
now.
is this. They had an election for all of Palestine, not just Gaza, and Hamas won against the what's called the Fatah, which is the political arm of the PLO. They won against Fatah because Fatah was seen as corrupt and incompetent. which is actually true. They've been that way forever. They're not a very well managed
Are they as
group.
violent as this Hamas?
No, they aren't. But Hamas was seen as a better
Now,
choice.
PLO was run by that little ugly man.
Yasser Arafat.
Yeah,
Yasser
well, he was
Arafat.
like the ugliest man I ever saw.
Yeah.
I met Larry King.
Yeah.
And I thought Larry King was the ugliest man I ever met physically. And I would say this that guy, what's his
He's
name?
a close
Arafat.
match.
I mean, the nose coming down here, touching the lip here.
All right. Okay. Let's not make fun of body features. That's unfair. It's called body shaming.
See,
Okay.
she doesn't mind. You know why? Because women have a chip in them for
Yeah.
ugliness.
Yeah.
So they're like we're attracted to pretty. They like it. Well, he's not very good looking right here, but he has a
Great
perfect
personality.
He has
Personality.
no. He has a perfect nose. They will if they like a man, they will find something in that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, but his eyes.
Yeah.
Am I right?
That's true. I agree.
Women. And
And-
thank God, because there wouldn't be any procreation of women.
Absolutely.
Think about the way we look. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So anyway, I've already covered the UK, and one of the last of the group that's quote designating Hamas as terrorist groups is of course Australia. So you got
Yeah.
Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, the U.S.
Yeah.
and occasionally the European Union, who say Hamas is terrorist. Now, Turkey says they're not a terrorist group; they're a liberation group. China won't take a side, and the reason is because they want to keep oil coming from the Middle East, and they know if they take
Speaking of oil, we have a little break here, a little advertisement. By
Rhett.
the way, no, okay, just a second.
Rhett.
Someone came in here and did their show,
Rhett.
and they used all my peppermint oil.
Okay.
And this peppermint goes into this machine, which creates fog. You see
Yeah.
this, ladies and gentlemen? This is fog, and it's supposed to inspire the intellect of human beings to be more academic.
And since you're out
So-
of peppermint, you're out of intellect.
So what I want to know is, I don't know who used my peppermint, but could you? I don't know.
Okay.
I wish you worked for me because I'd like to ask you to do something.
What do you need?
There's a box. There might be a box down here that has these in it. Hold on.
Peppermint.
It's on my fingers. So
Yeah,
it's leaking.
it leaked out the sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that-
Okay. Anyway, let's keep going with the show. We only have an hour and a half. So,
I have to put up with you for an hour and a half.
yeah,
Oh, my word.
so anyway, I've just
Oh
mentioned.
shit! It's on my phone.
Rhett.
You're not supposed to swear. I'm
You're
sorry.
not supposed
well,
to
you're allowed
swear.
to swear actually now on the internet, but
Well-
I don't want to swear. I'm sorry, folks.
That's
Palmer's a sinner.
that's
He
twice.
said S-H-I-T, Ma.
That's twice in this morning.
No,
okay.
did I say S-H-I-T?
No, you said another word. But
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was not a bad one.
anyway, it was
What
bad.
word did I say, Noah?
Anyway, you
Let's
can.
see. This is a test to see if Noah's paying any attention. No, he's in there playing Dungeons and Dragons.
So is
No,
Hamas
no
a
Dungeons
terrorist
and
group or
Dragons?
not? That's what
Well,
I'm trying
okay.
to find out.
What I'm
I'd like
trying
know
to
that.
what I'm trying to explain to you as an audience, Rhett,
I can't hear you. Hold on. Put that on.
Rhett, pay attention. What I'm trying to explain to you, China does not consider them a terrorist group. India does not consider them a terrorist group. Turkey does not consider them a terrorist
Consider who?
group.
Hamas?
Hamas, a terrorist group.
They
China
got
does
no-
not.
They haven't been threatened or beat up. Hamas didn't come in and kill 1,200 other people.
Okay, well, the point I'm trying to make here is that people that are fighting in a national liberation army against an occupier who has come in and taken their land, they may decide. They may decide.
Oh, like
wait a
in
minute.
Washington, D.C., when we want to take back America,
No.
and these guys that go down there are considered United States terrorists?
No,
What
wait
kind
a
of
minute, wait a
crap
minute,
is
wait a
that?
minute, wait a minute. What?
I can't wait for the gallows.
Rhett,
As
more.
Mordecai, they put up
Rhett.
the gallows
Rhett,
for Mordecai.
Rhett.
So too
Rhett.
shall all these
Rhett.
extreme liberals.
You're
Yes.
interrupting. And,
We
and
shall see.
You're interrupting too much. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is an important topic which the audience needs to understand, and you need to understand
yes.
that not everybody in the world considers Hamas a terrorist. Now,
I
among
appreciate you being in a good
among
mood today.
those
Thank
people, among those people who do not consider Hamas a terrorist,
Yes.
is
You.
the United Nations.
You don't think
no,
they're
the
a terrorist.
United Nations.
You don't
Rhett,
think they're a terrorist.
Rhett, the United
Do
Nations.
you? I'm asking you. Do you think Hamas is a terrorist organization?
I think Hamas is using what's called terrorist actions, throwing Molotov cocktails.
So if you use a terrorist action, that doesn't make you a terrorist.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay.
This
You
is
know what? I think you need to go to Harvard.
no.
Yeah,
not-
I think
Rhett,
you should
Rhett,
run for the presidency of
you're-
Harvard.
Rhett, you're not focusing. You're not focusing. Okay, I
It's
want
in
you to.
context.
Yeah, I want
What
you
does
to.
that mean, by the way?
To focus means pay attention,
No,
concentrate.
in
Context.
context.
No, we're not going to talk about Harvard. We're going to talk about what's happening here. as I
Okay.
tried to explain to you,
Yes, sir.
the Hamas is not considered by the United Nations to be a terrorist organization. Members of the Hamas were part of the UNRWA staff working in Gaza. Now, keep in mind, Hamas is the government of Gaza. You're saying it's a terrorist organization, fine. It's the government of Gaza. It runs all these different administrative services in Gaza, besides having what's called a military wing that may conduct what you call terrorist acts. They call it acts of national liberation. They're trying to force the Israelis out and have them give back the land they took from the Palestinians. That's their argument. They're saying, so if you were in this country and somebody came in and occupied your country, and then you fight back against those people, they're going to call you a terrorist. Even if you throw rocks at them, oh, that's a terrorist act. Because you don't want them in your country, you want them out of your country. They invaded your country. But your fighting back constitutes, from their view, that you're a terrorist. When we were fighting the British to try to get them out of America.
My exact thoughts.
Oh, good. When we were fighting, remember
was Washington a terrorist?
By the British definition, he was. Yes, indeed. The Americans were considered to be what was called atrocious.
They didn't use those words.
They didn't use that exact word, terrorism, but the Americans fighting, they stood behind the trees and shot at the British. The British were used to standing in lines against their arms.
That's called guerrilla.
Guerrilla
warfare.
is terrorism.
But they initially, no, there were a lot of battles face to face.
Well, I know, but Concord and so forth was not very successful. So we'd figured out pretty soon that the quickest way to defeat the British was by going to irregular or guerrilla warfare. Irregular guerrilla warfare.
So you know what?
What?
Hats off to Israel. I don't want any children killed. I'm not for that. I love Pakistani people and I love Jewish people. But you know what?
Not
They are
Pakistanis.
poking a needle in the side, a thorn in the side to Israel. It's time. Not going to live like that anymore. My neighbor came across my land and raped my wife.
Now, wait a minute.
Guess what? My neighbor dies.
Guess what? You and your family moved into your neighbor's property and took it without payment.
No,
Just
we were
overthrew
there a
it.
long time ago.
No,
just
you didn't.
like
You just came waving
Hey.
this Bible and said, it's mine, and you get out.
My friends,
Okay?
my
And therefore,
friends,
your friend
my
decided
friends,
he was going to
let me
resist
talk,
your
let me talk.
invasion.
My friends had a farm in Zimbabwe. White people, 300 years old. Lived right here, Kevin and his brother. They used to advertise on my show, Lion Roars Safaris. Look them up. They're in South Africa now. They're still in business. They had a 300-year-old farm. But then Mugabe comes along and says, if you're black and your origins are, Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, if you can prove that your grandfather worked on this land for a month, we're going to take the keys from Kevin's family, this white family, and give it to you, which is what they did. And the reason that they couldn't grow anything is they didn't have any training. They didn't know how to run the farm.
Now, wait a minute.
And they
Forget
kicked the
about-
white guys out, and the white guys ended up in South Africa.
All right. Forget about the
And do you know now you can't even buy?
Rhett.
Do you know you can't even buy a business in South Africa unless you have a black partner?
Rhett,
Yeah, that's right.
let me draw
nor buy a business.
Let me draw an
unless you have a
analogy
black
here.
partner.
A Palestinian has been living in Palestine for 300,
I'm
400.
beginning to think the blacks,
minute,
when they
Rhett.
reverse prejudice, are far more dangerous.
Okay,
Well, no, that's
let
not
me-
true.
let me-
'Cause the whites are pretty dang dangerous.
Rhett, pay attention.
There are a lot of evil white people.
Let me focus back on the Middle East. You imagine a Palestinian who has lived on a land for 300-400 years, has raised the crops, the sheep, all that kind of stuff.
Okay,
They've lived
I
there
get
for
it. Why
now,
did the Jews leave?
Rhett, let me finish my point.
Yes, sir.
Let me finish my point.
Okay.
Okay, stop interrupting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, they've lived there for 300-400 years. I'm sorry, but we can't have
you're
a
good.
conversation unless we have a conversation.
Yes.
And that means you're interrupting is disrupting the conversation.
Okay.
Okay. So the point is he's lived there for 300 years with his sheep, his cattle, and his olive trees.
Yes.
Now, suddenly, Israel decides, just like in Rhodesia, they decide, oh, I'm going to take back this land.
1948 you're talking about.
I'm saying 1948. They decide, I'm going to take back
they
this
didn't
land.
decide.
They-
The British initiated having a land for the Jews.
Actually, that's not correct. The whole Balfour Declaration, we've talked about that before. I'm not going to go into the history of that at the moment.
Who initiated it?
It was actually initiated by the World Zionist Congress and Chaim Weizmann of the World Zionist Congress, who was working with the British and happened to bring in a a British Jewish
Okay. Let me ask you,
parliamentarian.
How could there be a Zionist? What did you call it? A Zionist?
World
what?
Zionist Congress.
Well, weren't they all killed by the Germans?
No,
Where
this
were
is-
these guys hanging
This was
out?
before. The Balfour Declaration was in 1917, Rhett. 1917.
Well, you didn't let me know that.
Yeah, that's a long time before World War II. Okay? Okay. And the Balfour Declaration was being introduced by influence of Chom Weissman with one of the senior members of the British government who happened to be Jewish. And he introduced this doctrine that suggested that the Jews should have a right to a homeland in Palestine. That's where that all
That was
started
in
from.
that was in
1917.
1917.
Yeah,
That's
1917.
quite a ways ahead of 1948.
It is quite a ways ahead of 1940.
So this was established then.
Yes, but that
Why didn't the Jews come then?
Because, first of all, the Balfour Declaration did not constitute a what you called an act. At that time, Britain didn't even have control over Palestine. That was before Britain took over Palestine. Britain took over Palestine at the end of World War I with the defeat of the Ottoman Empire. And then when they decided they'd carve up that area that was formerly the Ottoman Empire, they decided, oh, Britain will take over this area called Palestine. So Britain, with the the Zionist movement behind the British decision, was strategically moving to take over Palestine, and then eventually the British mandate of Palestine was handed over to the Jews. Okay, that's how it all
Did
happened.
you ever hear this song? I lay in Zion
Yeah.
for a foundation
Okay,
is stone.
I know. There's a lot of. Anyway, let's.
I lay in Zion
Rhett.
for a foundation is stone.
Yeah, okay.
You know that song?
Don't know it.
Okay, anyway, we're going to have a lot of
You're
controversy.
looking for the thing.
We're going to have a lot of controversial discussions today, but as far as that issue,
Well, I commend you on your. I tested your patience this
yeah,
morning.
you have.
Because first of all, I was in a depressed mood when I came here,
And now
so
you're
I was
feeling
taking it out on you.
Okay.
I was taking it out on you, and
Yeah.
your love has won me over. I
Good.
love you too,
Good.
my brother.
Yeah,
I
good.
need your love. I need your friendship.
Yeah.
And you've just scored 4 stars. What? 5? 5. You're allowed 5 stars. Yes, you're the
Hey.
first person to reach 5 stars in one day and still have a smile on his face.
All right, good.
You know what that
Good.
means? I'm buying you lunch at the Ocean Grill.
I want that in writing.
All right, here you go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway,
He likes that, by the way. He's like my physiological brother. He's very cheap. Oh, I want that in writing. He'll be so excited to get a free lunch at the Ocean Grill.
Hey, it's a good place to eat.
Yeah, it is.
It
Have
is.
you tried the salmon? They
Yeah.
ship it in from
Yeah.
New Scotland.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's get back to the.
See a box in there?
We've
Okay, I
clarified.
have an idea.
Rhett, we've.
Okay, just let me. I got to do some administrative work here, just for a
Can
second.
we wait till the break?
Could you? Okay, just hold on.
Yeah.
Do you know my little office is?
Yeah.
Could you see if there's a box in there? And what we're going to do is this has not been emptied in 11 years. Let's just take everything out of it and put it in that box, and then I'll go through it later on. Would
In
that
the
be okay?
office.
Yeah.
Just start
Find a
taking-
box anywhere, and you can either be in the art room. It could be in the my room.
Okay.
It could even be in Noah's room, but I don't think
All right.
Noah. You don't have any boxes in there, do you, Noah? No.
Okay,
No.
so-
he says no. He doesn't. Thumbs down.
So let's go back to
Okay.
the main topic that we were discussing at the beginning.
By the way, we're talking with David. David Hunter is former U.S. diplomat.
Right.
Lived in Ukraine for how many years?
About 2 years.
Lived in Spain.
Yeah, year and a half.
Lived in India. 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Almost 4 years.
Let's
Korea.
see. Then Pakistan.
Year and a half.
A year and a half. And number 5 is South Korea.
South Korea for almost 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
What does that?
Yeah.
You must have. I mean, it is true. They say that traveling is better than a college education.
Well, living in a country is better than traveling. Okay, living in a country does allow you to.
Better than traveling. Well, that is traveling, but I know what you mean.
It
It's
allows
better
you to
than
understand.
superficial visit for a night, you know, in a hotel.
For
yeah.
example, I want to point out this because Israel actually has people who have become so deeply knowledgeable about America that you actually can't distinguish who is Israeli and who is American.
I got peppermint in my
Yeah,
eyes.
who is Israeli and who is American? Ron Dermer, for example,
Yeah.
was the Israeli ambassador to the United States for like 7 years. All right, and and he, by the way, is now I think in Washington meeting with Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, talking about the current situation in Israel. Dermer was an American. He was born in Miami. He lived there until he was 20 years old, or 25. He went over and worked on a Israeli campaign for Lieberman. And then he got closely tied in with Netanyahu. Netanyahu and Lieberman were close. And he ended up giving up his American citizenship and taking Jewish citizenship.
Oh, yes.
Dermer did. And then as a Jewish citizen, he comes back to the United States as Israel's ambassador.
Yes.
Now, the point is he'd grown up. He was born in America. He was an American citizen. He grew up here, and then he converted to being Israeli, and then comes back here as an ambassador.
Can't you have dual citizenship?
Well, you can't as a diplomat. As a diplomat, you can't have dual citizenship.
Oh, so in order to be a diplomat for Israel,
he had
to
to
the
give
United
up.
States.
He couldn't be both. He couldn't be a dual
Wow,
citizen.
that means he won't get Social Security.
He won't. You're right.
There
He
you go.
lost his Social Security.
He's in trouble now.
Yeah, he is. He is. So, of course, by the time he was 25, he was living in Israel, so he didn't earn much money in America before he moved over there.
no.
Yeah. No, but
I hadn't earned anything by the time I was 25.
so the issue is
Made up for it later, though.
and I mentioned to you this guy who is the what I call one of the President Biden's senior special envoys. I've mentioned him before. We talked about him on the show. Amos Hochstein.
Oh, Amos.
Amos Hochstein. Remember him?
Jewish.
Amos Hochstein.
Or is he German?
He is Jewish. He was actually.
You're wonderful. You know that.
He was actually from American
No,
parents.
thank you.
I told you before, he was from American parents that moved to Israel when he was a baby.
Yeah.
He raised himself in Israel until he was at least 20 years old. He actually served in the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF. Then he comes back to America and starts working as a political advisor to some congressman in the Democratic side of Congress. And he immediately takes off and becomes a very influential, powerful person who now is the special envoy for America in negotiating peace with Lebanon. Now, Lebanon is a big war about to happen. This is something Israel is attacking Lebanon. Lebanon is that's Hezbollah is attacking
There's
Israel.
a lot of inflammation.
There's a lot going on, and it's been step by step growing in its threat level. If you see a full-blown war between Lebanon and Israel, you can thank Amos Hochstein. Now, I say that somewhat facetiously.
Yeah.
In effect, he's supposed to be working as an American diplomat to avoid the war.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, he is someone who is Israeli to the core. He actually fought in the Israeli Defense Forces, and he is working as the Americans' impartial negotiator between Israel and Lebanon. Now, that's wrong. That's wrong. You can't have somebody who actually served in the foreign army of the country, one of the countries that you're trying to negotiate, and sit there and say, oh, I'm going to be the impartial negotiator. He met privately with the Defense Minister Gallant a few weeks ago. I talked about that. And he's back over there now, supposedly trying to tamp down the situation. The United States needs to be picking people who are knowledgeable but impartial. And if you grew up in Israel and served in the Israeli Defense Force, you're not impartial. You are going to be pro-Israel. There's no doubt about it. So you can't have an impartial person. Now, that's why when you asked me about this situation about, is Hamas a terrorist organization or not, I tried to explain to you a lot of the world, including China and Russia and Turkey and lots of big countries, Malaysia and Indonesia, all of this, they do not consider them to be a terrorist. They consider them to be a repressed people fighting for their rights. Yeah. And we need to understand that because the world is not going to line up behind us. We're going to find ourselves lining up with Israel and suddenly looking around and we're the only guy out there. Okay? And that's the problem. And that's why we need to have a ability to tap the brakes on Israel and Netanyahu and his Zionist actions. That's what we
we've
have
stayed
to do.
here quite long enough.
Yeah, we have. Okay.
So UNRWA stands for United Nations.
Yeah, it's called Refugee Works Association.
A UNRWA. Now they found all these body bags.
Now
I thought on the news the other night I heard they were saying some UN workers were involved in killing.
That's actually what the main topic is for this first topic on the day. The body bags, in my view, is an expression probably by the Israeli government.
Retribution?
They're an expression that we don't give a damn. We don't give a damn.
Who were these in the body bags? Were they women and children, or
I don't know. They were.
Were they soldiers?
We don't know. They just happened today. But they were.
Happened today.
It was
now,
happened today.
Today mean last night while we were sleeping.
Yeah. It was just reported in this.
So they have forensic.
They're obviously now starting to look into who these people are that are in the body bags with their hands tied behind their backs and probably executed.
But the fact that they were left there is a statement. Because
it's a statement probably of we're going to murder people, line them up and shoot them on the wall, and we're going to announce it.
With your tone, you already have the Jews convicted of this when you don't know who did it.
I'm saying this is a hypothesis. It's not a fact. We don't know yet. That's for sure.
What are you going to do if they're found out to be Jews and that it was the Palestinians that killed them?
Well, that would be a different story, and we will look into that. The UNRWA. Let's go back to this UNRWA staffers, because that's been a big story. And you mentioned in your intro that this UNRWA staffer involvement in the in the October 7th attack. This information was released by Israel the very day the World Court, the Court of International Justice, made their determination about Israel, and which was rather condemning of Israel. So the issue is the Israelis have provided a dossier. It's a 5-page document. A 5-page document, which allegedly. Oh, you got your clapping. Good for you. Okay. All right, Rhett.
But hopefully Noah will find better applause.
Yeah. Which will, they found cell phone tracking data, interrogation of Hamas fighters, and documents on dead militants, which prove, this is according to the Israeli dossier, the intelligence dossier, which prove that 12 UNRWA workers, including some 7 which were school teachers, had played a role in the October 7th attack. One took a body of a dead Israeli soldier and took it back to Gaza, and another coordinated trucks and munitions for the Hamas. These are the allegations that Israel is making. Now, Israel has expanded their charges in the last day. I actually heard a comment yesterday from the Israeli government spokesman, and he essentially said that this is not just a case of a few bad apples. This is a case of the entire UNRWA organization has been infiltrated by Hamas. And they're claiming that at least 10% of the 12,000 workers of Hamas in Gaza are linked to Hamas. The workers of the UNRWA are linked to Hamas. So they're saying this is, and based on this information about the 12 workers that the intelligence brief claims were working on October 7th for Hamas, the United States immediately has cut off funding for UNRWA. Now, UNRWA is the major humanitarian relief organization in Gaza. It provides 80% of all the logistic and support for humanitarian relief in that area. Gaza is now under enormous pressure because the people there have been under siege for 3.5 months by the Israeli government. That means no water, no electricity, no medicine. They are in terrible condition, no food. They're literally in a...
Maybe Hamas should have considered this when they were going to attack Israel.
Wait a minute. Part of the claim of the World Court, of the Court of International Justice of genocide, is that the Israelis have openly stated, including the defense minister and others in the government, that we are going to deprive the people of Gaza, not the Hamas fighters, the people of Gaza, we're going to deprive them of food, water, medicine, everything. That is considered genocidal statements. Those are considered evidence of the intent to genocide.
Did anybody say that?
Yes.
Who? Not Netanyahu.
The defense minister, Mr. Gallant, said exactly that.
What did he say?
He said, we're not going to allow anything into Gaza. The quarantine is going to be absolute. No food, water, medicine. He said that. Okay? It's on
Well,
TV.
how else are they supposed to drive out their enemy?
You're not supposed to drive out your enemy by starving the entire population. You're not supposed to do that. That's
It's
genocide.
war, baby.
It's not a war. Genocide.
It's war.
Rhett.
You don't think Israel should be able to defend itself?
No, I think Israel has the right to go after the Hamas fighters who
Well, how
are.
do they differentiate from those guys?
Yeah, that is, of course, is an important issue. Israel has a very sophisticated intelligence organization. It presumably knows who the fighters are. Yesterday, it went into a hospital with fighters who were Israeli fighters who were dressed up as doctors and nurses and other disguises, and went into a hospital and assassinated 3 people who were laying on hospital beds in that hospital. Now, how did they know who the 3 people were they were shooting? I'm assuming that they had pretty good intelligence that these were Hamas fighters and they were worthy of being assassinated in a hospital. Okay? It's still a very debatable tactic. Can you go into a hospital and organize a hit in the hospital thinking that you know the right identity of these people? These people were not shooting back at you. This was an assassination.
This was yesterday?
Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday in the hospital.
Where did you get that information?
From Al
Oh,
Jazeera.
no, that was on the news.
Oh,
was on the news.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't know
They
that.
came in guised as
Okay.
doctors.
Yeah, they were
and
actually bragging about it. They're bragging.
Well,
about
there was one guy sleeping, one of the bad guys, the Hamas guys,
right.
and they went and just shot him right in the bed, right?
Is that
it. Yeah,
right?
and yeah, exactly. There's literally.
Same thing that Hamas did to the babies and children over in
Okay.
and
All
children
right,
and
all
mothers
right.
and fathers over in.
Okay, so
But
anyway,
you want to wash over that though.
I'm not washing over that. I'm not going to wash over it. What I'm trying to explain here is this issue of UNRWA. Now, I want to analyze UNRWA. This is what we're doing. Who is UNRWA? UNRWA, as I said, provides 80% of the support for Gaza. It's a very well-established relief organization.
Okay.
Israel is causing. It should be neutral. It's supposed to be neutral. Now, Israel is claiming that 10% of these UNRWA workers are Hamas linked, and that 50% of the workers have members of Hamas in their families. That's what Israel is claiming. Now, which means that they are, it's Hamas, and Israel is now saying UNRWA should be disbanded, shut down, no funding, throw them out. They should be bringing in some new people, but just get rid of UNRWA. Okay, that's what they're saying. Now, this is in the middle of a major humanitarian crisis. They're talking about, throwing out it's kind of like saying, let's get everybody off the ship in the middle of a hurricane and just put them out in lifeboats because, there's a problem with the ship. No, in reality, if there is a problem with a ship, that needs to be fixed. I don't deny that. If there is infiltration of Hamas into the UNRWA, and it's possible, I'm not saying it isn't, okay? I don't want to say that this is a false flag that Israel is raising. Okay. I do think that the timing of the announcement of this being UNRWA being infiltrated by Gaza, by Hamas, the timing of this is specifically aimed to distract from the attention about the World Court's decision about Israel. It's meant to create a parallel narrative. We all know about parallel narratives. Okay, it's done all the time in politics. Something comes up, and then we're going to bring up another story that's far more important, like the impeachment of Hunter Biden for whatever. That's an alternative narrative to whatever is going on. It's used at appropriate times. So the timing of this is suspect. I'm not saying that UNRWA is not infiltrated by Hamas. But even if it does have some Hamas members inside it, the organization needs to continue to be funded so that it can continue to provide humanitarian relief. It's the only game in town. If you shut that game down, the amount of suffering is going to be enormous. It's already bad, but it's going to be enormous if there's no UNRWA there to provide additional support.
Okay, I'd like to ask you something.
Yeah.
Now, this is a side, okay? I'm thinking, so you're inspiring me here.
Good.
Now, I'm writing a book on dignity,
Yeah.
okay? And I've been working on it for quite a while, probably almost a year.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here thinking, what you did as a U.S. diplomat.
Yeah.
When I first met you years ago, I was very excited.
Right.
Because I immediately thought, oh, this guy is educated.
Yeah.
And yet the ironic thing is, like doctors. Do you know that doctors get 1 day of training from dietitians? That's all they ever get. The pharmaceutical companies want these doctors to prescribe, okay? So when you studied to be a dignitary, but you didn't, is there a dignitary school of any kind?
Diplomat school.
Okay, yeah, diplomat.
Yeah.
Oh, I said dignity. Dignitary. Oh, I didn't realize that till now. A dignitary. Okay, differentiate dignitary from diplomat.
Well,
Now the DI is the same.
yeah. Okay.
I have
Anyway,
to look up the word. No, this is very important to me. I want to know.
Okay.
Because what I want to know is, I'm going to ask you. Do you consider yourself a peacemaker? Isn't that the job
yes,
of a diplomat?
that's the job of a diplomat. is
Okay,
to
the
try
Bible
to
says,
find,
"Blessed are the peacemakers."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got my blessings and my wings already.
Don't be a smartass, okay?
Yeah.
So you ain't got your wings yet, and you may not. Depends on what my father decide.
All right.
Okay, so dignity and dignitary. Wow.
Yeah, well-
okay,
well-
hold on. See, I have this. This is what if I leave behind any legacy. This is mine. I found it late in life.
Good.
I want to promote dignity throughout the world.
Right.
Here's my belief. Imagine if we put dignity above all else.
Yeah.
Hold on, dignity, right?
Right.
Now, I have no idea how you have a war with dignity. First thing comes to mind, of course, would be what you're saying, even though I am a Zionist and I'm for Israel, would be, how do you feed and protect the mothers, fathers, and children in Gaza? But if you ship them out in buses and put them in camps to take care of them, feed them, clothe them, and bless them, among those people, just like right now, we know that there are very bad international terrorists who have come over the border in Mexico. Now, the far left thinks, which I've been listening to left radio. I like to expose myself to everything. Now, they believe that we need all these workers in America. And they think that Republicans somehow all hate immigrants and we don't want any immigrants. Trump has a big mouth, but Trump wants to get the job done, but whatever else he says on the side, okay? You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But anyway, they think that we don't. No, we want. This is a country of migration. We just want them to come over the border legally. Now, I don't know what I'm a little talk host in small town USA, okay?
Yeah.
Who happens? The other day we had somebody listen from Pakistan. Can you believe that?
Huh.
Yeah, the guy said, I'm in Pakistan.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about the Indian masjid, Babri Masjid, and the destruction of that.
You never know
So
now.
They might have.
Well,
gotten
you
that,
said we
yeah.
actually got from the show, we got also a response from London. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
About
They
a year
listen
ago.
occasionally. Yeah.
Listen occasionally, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it makes us an international show officially.
Right. Well, actually, my
So
friend.
I'm going to get puffed up. We get a few more of these letters.
Yeah, my friend in London. My friend in London said that he thought it was one of the most insightful shows that he's listened to. Which
Was that
is good.
because I gave you contest, or because he happened to tune in a day where I shut up?
Well, there are a few that have complained about interruptions. And
No,
that
they
sort
hit
of
it.
thing,
We
but, yeah.
got a complaint down at the Christian station recently
Did you?
too.
Really?
Yeah, and the pastor read it to me that this
Okay.
lady listens, and
Yeah.
all I do is interrupt my guests. So this is why I disdain and actually have hatred,
Yeah.
and I'm vitriolic towards Hannity. Remember he
Right.
said today,
Yeah.
he typed up on the screen notes that stop being Hannity.
Right.
Hannity's manager lives in town.
Yeah.
And he and I we've gone to the Ocean Grill twice. And I said, would you tell him that he interrupts? So I also sent an email up to the station. I said,
Yeah.
I talked to one of his producers. I said, tell him to stop interrupting. Well, there's a saying among a group that I'm involved with that if you spot it, you got it. In other words,
Yeah.
it's something about me. See how you've taken yourself, you've handled yourself very well this morning.
Thank you.
But it shows you that you are more mature in the levels where I was needling you.
Yeah.
Because had you been weak in those areas, you would have had disdain and contempt for me, but you didn't. That
Right.
proves that you are strong in that area. Because remember, look, we could all be together and some jerk could walk in here.
Yeah.
Now, But if we stay calm, no matter what they're doing, then we have somehow in life, we've learned lessons
Yeah.
they've yet to learn in that department. Now, they might be brilliant in some other area or more mature than us in some other area.
Yeah.
But this is why I believe in dignity. I believe that
Actually,
if we put dignity, God, dignity, you know, I mean, I don't know where to place it. I'm still coming to terms with all this stuff, but
yeah,
if I dignify somebody, in other words, even if
you're showing respect. Dignity, part of dignity is showing respect for others and their views.
respect is earned, dignity is a
character.
a birthright.
Yeah, but
A birthright.
we have a
Everybody should be treated. In other words, what I'm saying is it's not about money at all. Okay, for
Yeah.
instance, you're a bum, you're homeless. Okay?
Yeah.
Or this is pretend.
right.
But I come down the street now. I might be on my way, and this is a true story that's in my book, by
Right,
the way, by a
right.
guy he was on his way to kill himself
Yeah,
in Troy, New York, this past year. He's
Right.
going to go to the Green Island Bridge. He said, unless somebody approaches me and is kind to me,
Right.
I'm going to jump off the bridge. And when I lived there, the last year I was there, I remember there was a lawyer, put pebbles in his pockets, jumped off the Green Island Bridge, and killed himself. And that was 61, which used to be old to me. Now it's a youngster, right? But I don't want anybody
Yeah.
killing themselves. So anyway, now years later, this guy tells my friend David that he was on his way to kill himself,
Yeah.
and he got to the bridge. No one had spoken to him, and he was just about to jump off. And some old man came along, who had no idea, and started talking to him, being nice to him.
yeah,
He validated his membership in humanity.
Right.
There's a good term. Membership in
Membership in
humanity. Okay.
humanity. Okay.
Membership. Hold on. Membership in humanity.
Right.
Okay. So what I want to know is, you know, how do we? I'm going to ask you to write for my book. I'd like you to do some research on what you think. You listen to me?
yeah. I'm listening.
Okay. I don't know if you, were you reading this?
I'm paying
I want
attention.
you to do some research on dignity.
Yeah,
This is not complex.
yeah,
You might give me one page. You might give me a paragraph.
yeah,
What is dignity?
Right.
See, respect is something earned.
Right.
I may not respect you,
yeah,
but no matter how we disagree, you are my human brother.
yeah. Well, the
And
simplest,
if you have
the
need of
simplest
my
definition,
smile, my kindness,
Yeah.
food,
Rhett,
whatever I can
Rhett.
do for you, I give it to you.
the simplest definition of dignity is
What?
don't be a jerk. Seriously, it is. In other words, if you were a jerk, you are not dignified. You and we all sort of know what a jerk is. You mentioned if a jerk comes into the door, you know the interpretation of what is a jerk. A jerk is somebody who's so self-centered they are only thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about
I
other
know,
people.
but I still need to treat them with dignity.
You should, even a jerk should be treated with dignity, but on the other hand, you should not, as one giving out dignity, you should not be a jerk. You can't be a jerk and dignified at the same time.
I could say, you have the power to be nice or not be nice.
Yeah.
You're not being nice, so I dignify you. I recognize your humanity. If you need food or something, we're here for you. But if you're going to treat the rest of the people here in an undignified manner, with all
Yeah.
dignity, I ask you to please exit the building.
Right. All right. So let's go back to UNRWA. I want to just finish
Just like
this
I don't like
story.
people yelling at me.
Yeah.
It's not dignified.
Yeah. I want to finish. I want to finish this thing about UNRWA.
She's got an idea. She's
No,
writing
this is
it down.
something
Okay.
else.
The
okay.
final point about UNRWA here is the
Yes.
U.S.
How'd you know?
The U.S. should not curtail funding, and other organizations should not cut off funding for UNRWA. It's the only game in town. The Palestinians are enormously suffering right now.
Yeah.
And whether there is some infiltration of Hamas into UNRWA, which could have been the case, it's a big organization. Now, keep in mind, UNRWA provides the list of the names and identity information to Israel every year on all of its 12,000 employees. So Israel has the chance to review and look at these people and run intelligence and background checks on them themselves. So if there are people who are in UNRWA who are Hamas fighters, Israel had the opportunity prior to this October 7th to run background checks on them. Okay? This is a closed area. These are not people coming in and out from all over the world.
You're
These-
getting emotional because
I'm
you're
trying to-
yelling. You know that.
No, I'm trying to explain to you that this issue of, you know, if these
when he gets
people
emotional, he yells. It's
if
okay.
these people
I do it too.
Rhett, if these people were Hamas fighters and they were working for UNRWA, Israel should have known about it. Suddenly now, 4 months later, they say, "Oh, we know about it. Here's all this information about it." Okay, well, why didn't they know it before October 7th? Okay, that's of course one of the other questions. So I'll leave it at that.
Remember, sometimes things we're suspicious of turn out to have a reason
Yeah,
that we didn't think of.
And of
It's
course,
just like a magician. You see this,
Yeah.
this is impossible. And then you find out behind the scenes, how that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say that.
right, right. So anyway, that's enough on UNRWA. It's going to be
Forensic investigation.
we need to keep UNRWA going because of the continuing siege by Israel.
Do you think you can write something that's...
Yeah, I said I would write
No,
you.
no. That's for not... That's
He
not...
doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
No, that's not for academics. Like, I have a friend of mine,
Yeah.
even though we're not speaking really right now, Father Duffy.
You're not speaking?
Oh, it's a long story.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
But, he didn't show up for dinner. I sat at the
Oh.
restaurant waiting for him and didn't have the...
That's down in
In
Palm
West
Beach.
Palm?
Yeah,
Palm Beach.
and he
At,
should have called me.
Capitol Grill?
No, it was near there. That was
Yeah.
Yeah.
not the yacht club. What was it? It's another place. The Pelican.
Okay.
You ever eaten there?
No,
They have
I
a
have not.
beautiful outside porch.
And
Pelican. It's
Father
on,
Duffy
uh,
was supposed to be paying for the meal. So.
Oh.
No, he was not. So, I don't remember who paid for our meals. Was it me or him?
That's
But
what
anyway,
that's what got Rhett really mad.
Yeah. So did you confront him with that?
Yeah.
That he didn't show up, or did you just leave it be?
he sent me a Christmas card the past 2 years.
Okay, all
We
right.
need to communicate.
Anyway, we
Well,
got-
last time I called him, he didn't return my phone
Time
call.
is running.
No, I
Time is
want to
running.
ask. Going to
Yeah.
ask you something. What was it?
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
interrupt me.
while you're, let's go to this very important topic.
We haven't got time, do we?
Very important topic.
It's
Yeah.
now 10:03.
Okay.
Well, I think you can stay late today. I don't know if I booked
Yeah, all
anybody
right.
or not.
All right. This
You
is a
can
very
stick
important
around, right?
topic.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to lunch, by the way?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
go.
We're going into the
Do you want to go to that thing?
that thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing.
It's what's his name's? They have a networking.
Yeah, the
luncheon.
networking
Oh,
thing. Yeah.
okay. All
That
right.
thing.
You should come too. You'll meet some
It's
pretty
fun.
odd.
It's-
You'll meet some odd
yeah.
people.
And they have raffles.
Yeah. We should bring gifts today.
Yeah.
We
What
don't
can
have
we
any
bring?
gifts.
Well, one of my paintings. No, I don't want
That's a
that.
good idea.
No.
No?
Yeah.
No, I'm giving you a
I
painting.
know, and I'm waiting for it.
Oh, we have
Okay.
to call Barbara. She doesn't have the exact size. She has the size next to
That's
that.
fine. I don't care.
Right.
Whatever.
Okay, we need to talk to her. Make
Yeah.
sure when we're done we
Yeah,
call her.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 3 U.S. Now this is pretty terrifying. 3 U.S. soldiers killed in Jordan in a drone attack. So there was a drone expected, one of our drones coming back. This other drone was misconstrued as perhaps that drone, and it shot at a bunch of sleeping U.S. soldiers. And we have 2 beautiful African American girls were killed. And I don't know what the guy was. I don't know if he was.
He was African also.
He was
African
So we
American.
lost 3 African Americans who were fighting for our country, and
also wounded.
yeah. And
Keep
I
in
want
mind-
people to be. The reason I bring up African American is I want there to be an awareness now. Do you know that only 3% of the pilots hired to fly jet planes professionally are black? Okay, and this bothers me because I will stand up for the Tuskegee Airmen.
Right.
When the Tuskegee Airmen protected bombers. They were or they were not allowed to eat with the whites or sleep with the whites. I don't know what kind of crap that was. But anyway, so the Tuskegee Airmen never lost a bomber. These were masculine, intelligent, gifted men, determined to
Right.
stand up for their race, the color
Well-
of their skin. And then, now, by the way, out of the 3% of black people, black men mostly, maybe some women, who are pilots, never in the history of aviation has a major jet gone down being piloted by a black person of black skin.
Right.
So it was time that our U.S. government allowed more blacks in to be
Right.
trained. And I don't mean affirmative action, all that
Yeah.
crap. You have to have the intellect and the IQ to pass the test. None of that stuff. But certainly we need more.
Okay. Well, that's a separate topic. And,
But this
and-
right here, I just wanted that's it,
Yeah.
because these are 3 African Americans that we lost
Yeah.
who were who wrote a blank check to America.
Right.
And that needs to not go unnoticed. Okay.
Yeah.
So this past weekend, 3 U.S. soldiers were killed and 34 other U.S. troops were wounded in a drone attack on a remote outpost called Tower 22. Described as a U.S. logistics outpost, the outpost is in Rukban, Jordan, just a few kilometers from Syria. There we go, the Syrians again. They're a
Right.
dangerous lot, aren't they? And also near Iraq's
Yeah.
border. The shadowy group called Axis of the Resistance claimed responsibility for the attack. Who is this group? And why did they attack this U.S. military outpost? And, of course, now Biden is saying, we will respond at our convenience and the time we want
Right,
to.
right.
So
Well-
they should be shaking in their boots. You want to talk about terror? How about having the United States? Your name is Osama bin Laden. You know, sooner or later they're coming for your ass.
Yeah. Okay.
I said another word today. I said shit. I said ass.
Okay.
Look at that.
All right. He's very emotional today, but that's good.
Yeah.
There's we should be emotional. This is a terrible tragedy. By the way, this black soldier, one of the sergeants, he was promoted posthumously to sergeant rank. He believe it's the man. I'm not certain. It might have been the woman, but I think it's the man. He had a father who was a Marine, U.S. Marine, and has a sister who is in the Navy. So, in other words, it's a military family, and that's very common. Military families often continue from generation to generation. I know several military families who have been in the military since 1776, going all the way back. You know, these are New England families, and they always have somebody of their family in the military. So this guy, Finney, for example, that you know, that's on the show once in a while, he's from a similar
Yeah, I haven't
military
heard from him.
He's from a
He's
similar.
a venture capitalist, very bright guy. Have
Similar-
you met Finney when he's been on the show
No, I
here?
don't think
Yeah.
so.
Anyway, similar. A lot of these families have a tradition in the
Actually,
military.
Feeney. He
Yeah.
doesn't like to be called Finney.
Yeah.
You're
All
gonna
right.
get me in trouble. It took him 3 years to get me to say Feeney.
Okay. Well,
But
anyway,
it's F-I-N-I.
there are a lot of questions about this. As you said before, the drone, how it got through any defenses that were there. This facility, which is called Tower 22, is a very small. I call it like they called them FOBs,
mean?
forward observation bases.
Okay.
Okay, an FOB.
That means you're on the front line, essentially.
It means, yeah, we used to do this in Afghanistan a lot. We had these little compounds with, like 5 or 10 or 20.
U.S.
troops.
logistics outpost.
Yeah, now
What in the
logistic.
world? What does that mean?
I know. I'm going to talk about that. Just be patient. So the
Only if I had to.
the FOB is a kind of a military. We used that in Afghanistan a lot, and it was meant to be out in the field, close on the ground to the insurgents, to the fighters, the Taliban, so that they could get right up personal and have better intel on what's going on. Out in the poppy fields if there was drugs being smuggled and so forth. That was part of the positioning that was done. We tried that for a while, and we ended up getting our tail kicked because these were hard to defend. These outposts were hard to defend, and they were being overrun. And then we didn't have the air support to come in and protect them while they were being attacked. So eventually in Afghanistan, we gave up on that idea. We said that's a bad idea. We're going to move them all back into larger bases where they are more protectable. They have a better defense and better anti-missile defenses and so forth. So the question now is, what is this so-called logistics base doing out there in the middle of nowhere on the border? It's only like a mile from the border of Syria, and it's only about 5 miles from the border of Iraq. And it's in Jordan. So it's right on the corner of 3 different countries, all of them. Now, in theory, the reason why they're out there is because ISIS is out there. ISIS or ISIL, however you want to call it. And there is a base not far from there, probably only 5 or 10 miles from there, called the Al-Tanif, T-A-N-F, Al-Tanif U.S. military base. It was established there since 2016 to help fight against ISIL. And part of what Al-Tanif was doing is it was training locals from that area in Syria, that's based in Syria, not in Jordan, but it's only right across the border. The Al-Tanif was training local Syrians to fight ISIS. And part of what they did is they flew these locals over to Qatar, to a training facility in Qatar where they were trained how to attack vehicles, raid buildings, and even retrieve information and weapons and munitions. So they were basically, it was allegedly, some people suggest it was run by the CIA. Okay. And it was being trained. And these people that came back from that training camp, they were in what was called the Revolutionary Commando Army. In Syria, the Revolutionary Commando Army. Which was fighting against ISIS. Well, that army has now changed its name. It is now being called the New Syrian Army. All right. So anyway, you've got what I call a bunch of people that are fighting against ISIS in theory at that location. Now, clearly, if this drone was something that ISIS used to attack, then it would make sense. These people are being trained to fight ISIS. They're out there to fight ISIS. That's why that facility and that base is out there. And the logistics base is probably a intel base supporting the fighters, but the fighters are kept at a separate place across the border in Syria. That's what I'm guessing. This is my speculation. It's just what do you call an educated guess. So the question now is, who took the pot shot that succeeded in killing some of our troops in that location? Was it ISIS, or was it something we talked at your intro about something?
Who took credit? Who took credit? They took credit.
Well, they took credit. That was the people that took credit is called this axis of the resistance. Now, the axis of the resistance is actually a loose confederation of what you called Iran-supported terror groups, and I'll call them terror groups in this case. That includes the Houthis in Yemen and Hezbollah and others that are all interconnected as this axis of the resistance. Their resistance means they want to get the U.S. out of the region, and they want to get Israel out of the region. Take the Israeli Jews and send them back to Congo or somewhere else. Don't leave them in Israel. They don't want to be there. These people that are of this extreme view think that Israel has no right to be in Israel. The Jews have no right to be in Israel.
You better learn how to play the bongos, because we're sending you to the Congo.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Yeah. And of course, and they see the United States as being a principal backer of Israel and the backer of what they call the Zionist occupation of the Palestinian lands. That's their definition, not mine, their definition. Just so you understand, they see this as a Zionist occupation of the Palestine. And the Palestinians are a freedom-fighting people trying to remove the occupiers from their occupation. And these people are supporting the Libyans, not the Libyans, the Houthis. They said they're out there.
All these names, the Houthis.
The Houthis are out there shooting at.
Sounds like a new band.
Yeah.
Hey, come and see the Houthis tonight.
Yeah. So anyway, the
violent Houthis.
The reality is.
Pink booties.
Okay, you mentioned Biden. Rhett, Biden. Biden has to make.
Oh yeah, who's he?
He has to make a decision about this threat and what to do. We have to do a response, and apparently he has made a decision. Now, the decision he's made probably is going to involve attacking some of these people in Syria and in maybe in Jordan, if they happen to be in Jordan, any of these outlying areas. He's not going to attack inside Iran, even though Iran is probably providing them with funding and arms and possibly even training.
All right. Now, before we take our break.
Yeah.
So you know I interviewed Romney.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mitt
when
Romney.
he was running, Mitt Romney. I see things in people other people don't see.
Right.
And I knew a month before the election, Romney already knew that he was going to lose. When Biden was running the first time, he was talking about raising taxes. First of all, any politician in his right mind doesn't say, I'm going to raise your taxes. He did. But I scrutinized him. He knew before the election he was going to win. And I see something in his countenance now. You know, the other day I saw a video of these people preaching Christianity, and this left-wing lady who was pro-abortion came along and took their sign. Just like I've had anti-abortion, stickers on my car. The left feels nothing wrong that they're perpetrating a crime to take that. That's my car. I should be able to say on my car what I want. And this lady was taking this thing that they had professionally painted and folding it up and ruining it to put it in her trunk, and she wouldn't give it up to the guys. What is it with the left? So this is my opinion. I believe that our left that's in charge right now will do anything. They have relentlessly attacked Trump the time he was in office for 4 years. Now, being out of office until he rescinds, they're coming up with all this bogus stuff. I mean, even God has brought in confusion to the life of this. What do you call it? The person, the lady who's said when she was running for office, "I will take down Trump," and now she's having an affair with the guy who she hired to help her with the defense against Trump. You know, that whole thing going on. Make no mistake, it's the hand of God. He puts confusion on them. She will go down. Okay, so the same thing is, I am very concerned because what I'm convinced of is that the left wing, the Nancy Pelosi's and all those people, they think it's absolutely okay to steal the election, considering they have made a decision to be dictators, that Trump should not be we cannot let that man back in office at all costs.
Rhett, we're going down the rabbit hole. This is
this is very important.
It is. I know it's important, but
because you know what? We wouldn't be in this mess, and that wouldn't be happening without Trump. If Trump had been in office, he's a peacemaker.
Okay, if Mitt Romney had been in office, that wouldn't have happened.
No, Mitt Romney, baloney. Mitt Romney's a weak rhino.
Okay.
He's a loser.
Yeah.
Romney's a loser. He didn't earn a dime he has. He's a billionaire. He inherited daddy's money.
Actually, what I was thinking.
Rip Nomley.
Yeah.
Rip Nomley.
What I was thinking, and I want to use
only my mind could do that. Rip
Rhett,
Nomley. Rip Nomley. He is a thief. It's true.
Rhett, talking about
stop being handed.
Exactly. Yeah. What I was the last thing I want to comment about that before we get back on subject, since we were trailing off on this, is the Republicans should give up the elephant as their logo, and they should basically adopt two different groups: a rhino for the rhinos, and a hippo for the MAGA. And the hippo, of course, is because it sort of rhymes with.
What happened to the elephant?
The elephant is not necessary anymore. You don't have
an
elephant.
A rhino and a what?
A hippo. A hippopotamus.
Hey. Forget about it. It ain't happening.
And the hippo, of course, rhymes with.
Well, what? Should the Democrats keep the jackass?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, they should, because it fits them.
At least elephants are very smart.
No.
The one thing, though, I do like about the donkeys is they're all emotion. See? Like.
Rhett.
Have you ever made friends with a donkey or a jackass?
No.
They recognize they're full of love. You love them because they're all emotion.
But I have.
Now, an elephant remembers stuff.
Actually, I have ridden on a donkey. I've actually ridden on a
So
burro.
did I in
I've ridden
Israel.
on a burro.
Did you notice that the cross is on every donkey?
Yeah, and actually,
People don't notice that. Get on a donkey. You've been to Israel,
No,
haven't you?
no.
Everyone has a cross. Go to your Google now, right now. Look up the donkeys over in Israel. Everyone has a cross. Isn't it? What a coincidence that Jesus rode in on a donkey. And yet humans deny Jesus. I mean, it's all over the place. There's a dove in Israel that is a pure white. It has one red blotch right here. It looks like blood. Well, what happened to that dove? The story is a dove ran across the breasts of Jesus. And now that whole line of doves all have this one. Makes no sense. They all have this red blotch. That's all. Other than that, they're pure, absolutely pure white.
All right. Anyway,
a donkey has a cross on its back.
Back to the very.
God says, "Oy vey, I'm trying to tell him, but I have my son who says, look at the love. Who would die for you? Will come as a man, die on the cross, and you still won't receive. I healed the sick, made the lame to walk. You still don't believe. Because Jesus said the world hates me because I show them that their deeds are evil.
Okay, the peacekeeper. This is what diplomats are, as peacekeepers.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
We are arguing that we should not escalate the conflict in the Middle East. I don't want to see a war with Iran. I don't want to see a war with.
So how do we not?
Well.
Escalate. How do we not be inflammatory?
All right. Senator Graham was saying, hit Iran now, hit them hard. Senator Cotton was saying the only answer can be a devastating military retaliation. That's what he said.
Doesn't Iran have nuclear?
No, they don't. They don't. But they have.
All it's going to take is one of these jihad mentally ill people to be able to press that button, and then the whole world,
anyway, the issue is
the Bible says man will destroy himself with fire.
The issue is that we are in a very difficult situation. Rhett.
You don't know what I'm talking
Pay attention,
about.
I
Rhett.
sure do.
Okay.
We have
I know a lot about Revelation.
We're going to talk a little bit about that in the next section after the break.
That's why she came in for that segment.
Good, but let's finish this and then take a break. But I want to finish my last point on this.
Yes, sir.
That I disagree with Graham. I disagree with Cotton. I think that going into a major war with Iran is a horrible idea. Absolutely terrible idea. We've been in Iran. We've been in a war with Iraq. How did that turn out, folks? We went in a war with Afghanistan. How did that turn out,
We
folks?
never should have been in Vietnam, and we never should have been in Iraq.
Exactly. And we should not be in a war with Iran either, okay? We have to figure out another way to do it. And so anybody that's advising Biden or calling Biden a coward, that's what Graham was saying. I think he's saying that you're a coward if you don't attack Iran. That's
Who
not,
said that?
I think it was
Graham?
either Graham or Cotton. One of them said it. There's been several that have said, oh,
I'm surprised Graham.
I'm surprised with Cotton because Cotton's a former military guy. He should know when you're going. Graham has never been in the military.
There are things going on we don't know about.
Well, there are.
When I
but-
talked to a congressman, and I sat down on a couch, just the two of us, I said, I bet you there's things you can't tell me. He said, Rhett, if you only knew what I can't tell you.
Yeah,
I
okay.
believe that.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been in some of the rooms where things.
351,000 children went missing in
Yeah.
America last year. I have no idea where they are. Yet they went up into the woods recently and found a place that looks like where you dedicate lives. They found all these shoes that belong to little kids, but no kids.
Okay.
Because they say that they're sacrificing children.
Okay.
Now, this sounds outrageous to the three of us. They say, oh, that's not happening. And that's what
All
I
right.
want to, oh, it's not real. And I'm thinking maybe it's not happening. I
Okay.
mean, I want to believe it's not
Rhett,
happening.
Rhett, this is
Do you
a-
think man
this
is
is a
this
foreign-
evil?
this
Is
is-
man this evil?
This is a foreign policy show, and what we want to keep the audience focused on is we do not want another war in the Middle East. That's what I'm trying to say is the conclusion of this. We can deal with this
I
death.
got it. We're going to name you manager of the Rhett Palmer Show.
Muzzle the,
No,
the
no
mayor.
muzzling.
Muzzle the mayor.
Muzzle the mayor. Yeah, we see the protest now. Muzzle the mayor. Hey, that'd be a great thing. An
Actually, you
intro.
don't wanna be a
We should
Hannity.
have. Listen, no. We're doing a new video
Yeah.
for our YouTube channel,
Yeah.
right? And we should have people holding signs. Muzzle the mayor. It'll cause controversy, contest. What do you mean, muzzle the mayor?
Yeah.
They're muzzling the mayor. You shall not muzzle me. I am the shoeshine boy from Poughkeepsie, New York. I am an honest voice in the wilderness.
Okay.
I am an honest voice. Wouldn't it be great to have a guy like me become world famous in the United States who said, I am of the working class Americans, and I vow to live on a certain amount of salary the rest of my life, no more than that. I will not be taken by money or influenced by money. Somebody has to be honest.
Yeah, as long as they send him a check for $1 million, he'll be honest.
I don't see what the point of that.
See how his heart thinks? His dark heart.
No.
Send me a check for $1 million, okay?
Okay, anyway, take a break.
Yeah, let's hold
Take
on
a
a
break.
second. This is I won't play my jingle.
Two things.
Airwaves is ready to go. Talking to people you wanna know. Face to face, one on one. Get the story and have some fun with Rhett Palmer.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
I know you want to have a beautiful smile. Well, an examination, radiographs, a healthy cleaning would normally be well over $200. Gosh. Right now, for $79, you can call Plains Dental Arts, 231-6004. It's all included for $79. The examination, the radiographs, the healthy cleaning. Okay, call Plains Dental Arts. Make your appointment right now, 772-231-6004. Takes care of gingivitis, takes care of halitosis, gives you a great healthy smile. You get a thorough examination. Plains Dental Arts, just south of the Village Beach Market on A1A. Again, $79 for the examination, radiographs, healthy cleaning, 231-6004. Call now, 772-231-6004.
The Rhett Palmer broadcast is brought to you by Complete Electric Complete Alarm. Get your generator checked now before the next hurricane strikes. Call the good folks at Complete Electric Complete Alarm. You'll be safe and sound when the next hurricane strikes. Call Complete Electric Complete Alarm.
Hello, residents of Indian River County. Recycling is all fun and games with the Solid Waste Disposal District's sorting game designed to test your recycling skills. Build your own digital park and earn rewards by placing material into the correct bins. You can even earn a certificate. To find this cool game, download the Carter's Corner app on your mobile device at Google Play or the Apple App Store, or visit indianriver.gov.
A.E. Stalls Real Estate and Associates is a hometown family company. Josh and Mandy Stalls, along with their two sons, have deep roots in this community. As a boutique brokerage, they are located steps away from Vero's beachside communities. They have a strong team of realtors, the tools, and experience to guide clients to the closing table. Helping clients feel confident in the buying and selling market is what they do. You can reach them at stallsrealestate.com, Facebook, or 772-800-8305.
Hi, I'm a golf enthusiast, and I love Big Shots Golf on US 1, next to Advanced Eye Care. I was at Big Shots recently and had a great time playing a virtual 18-hole golf course. Big Shots also serves really good food. The mini cheeseburgers are my favorite. I love the ice cream, too. For a fun time, bring your friends and family to Big Shots Golf on US 1.
I know you want to have a beautiful smile. I know you want.
Hi, I'm a golf enthusiast, and I love Big Shots Golf on US 1, next to Advanced Eye Care. I was at Big Shots recently and had a great time playing a virtual 18-hole golf course. Big Shots also serves really good food. The mini cheeseburgers are my favorite. I love the ice cream, too. For a fun time, bring your friends and family to Big Shots Golf on US 1.
The Minutemen answered the call during the American Revolution. Now, Minuteman Press answers the call with custom print and design services designed to promote your business like nobody's business. They lead the charge, but never overcharge for great design, print, and promotional materials. Minuteman Press in Vero Beach and now in Port St. Lucie. Ready to answer the call. Google Minuteman Press or visit pslminutemanpress.com.
They say you sleep a third of your life. So why is shopping for a mattress so important? There's a mattress store on every corner. But when you visit the Mattress Market store, you'll find Steve and his family, in business for 35 years, waiting to help you find the best mattress at the best price to give you the best night's sleep. All the major brands: Serta Perfect Sleeper, Simmons Beauty Rest, Posh and Lavish, Urban Loft Ice, Pure Latex Bliss, I Love My Pillow, Kingsdown, Biscayne Bedding, and many more. US 1 right next to Waves, Mattress Market in Vero Beach, for a good night's sleep and a great deal. Mattress Market.
A.E. Stalls Real Estate and Associates is a hometown family company. Josh and Mandy Stalls, along with their two sons, have deep roots in this community. As a boutique brokerage, they are located steps away from Vero's beachside communities. They have a strong team of realtors, the tools, and experience to guide clients to the closing table. Helping clients feel confident in the buying and selling market is what they do. You can reach them at stallsrealestate.com, Facebook, or 772-800-8305.
The Rhett Palmer broadcast is brought to you by Complete Electric Complete Alarm. Get your generator checked now before the next hurricane strikes. Call the good folks at Complete Electric Complete Alarm. You'll be safe and sound when the next hurricane strikes. Call Complete Electric Complete Alarm.
Read the intro. Is this an interesting
Hi,
topic?
people. Rhett's in the back. Which one are we on?
3.
3. Is the American Christian Zionist movement being used by Israel?
Keep going.
Oh, the entire thing.
Yeah.
Okay. It is estimated there are 5 to 10 million Christian Zionists in the USA. They see the return of Israel to the Holy Land as a sign of the end times and the second coming of Christ. Is this subset of Christian faith being used by Israeli Zionists to promote pro-Israel support in the U.S. and to further their claim all Palestine territory belongs exclusively to Israeli Jews?
Right. Well, we talked about that earlier in our show, which is, that the initial claim of the Zionists from 1947 and earlier, even going back to the Balfour Declaration, was on this assumption that God gave Judea and Samaria to the Jews. That's where they were from originally, and therefore they're coming back and they're claiming their stake. And anybody that happens to be there needs to get out of the way and out of Israel. And after the 47 war, Israel took over about 85% or 90% of all the land there. Prior to that 47 war, Israel only owned 5% of the land. The Jews only owned 5% of the land. And after the war, suddenly they own 90% of the land, and everybody else has to get off the land that's theirs. That's why the Palestinians are fighting against them, saying, I want my land back, I didn't give it to you, and I'm trying to recover it. Now, what you have, though, is an interesting situation with what's called the American Christian Zionist movement. This is a group of people who essentially are quoting the Bible and saying that the Bible says that God promises to reward those who bless, support, and assist the Jewish people. It's quoting Genesis 12:3. Genesis 12:3. Now, there is something called IsraelBible.com, IsraelBible.com, that says specifically, I will bless those that bless you. God promises a great reward for those that bless, support, and assist the Jewish people. And this is under the assumption that that Christian Zionists will be blessed by God for standing with Israel in obedience of this verse. Now, I went and checked that verse. That verse does not say anything about Israel. In fact, if you remember Genesis is before Israel ever was created. Israel is Jacob, and Jacob is the grandson of Abraham. So you can't have something in Genesis talking about an Israeli and blessing of Israeli and Jews. Jews did not exist at the time. That's true.
Yeah,
Even
came from Judah, which
correct. So even at the time of Israel, of Abraham, there were no Jews. This is something most people don't know, that at the time of Abraham, there were no Jews.
Yeah.
Okay? There were only Israelis at the time of Jacob, which was the grandson of Abraham. Okay? So this claim that God blesses those who bless the Jewish people and bless the state of Israel, that can't be from Genesis. Okay? It's a misinterpretation. All right.
I'm looking at Genesis 12:3, but sometimes I think you also have to look at the original languages too. And and we don't have the original languages right here.
But I checked it in various translations of the Bible. Yeah. I've checked that very citation in various translations of the Bible, from King James going to all the other variations.
How about in the Hebrew?
Even in Hebrew.
Okay.
Even in Hebrew, it's not there. Okay. This has been added by the Christian Zionists and by the Jewish Zionists, possibly as a way to influence Christian Zionists, to say only if you support Israel and support Israel's occupation will you do that. Now, the Christian Zionists have a very interesting theology, because they are part of what I call what's called the end of times crowd. There are people that believe in this. Not a lot of Christians do, but I think a fairly good percentage do. As I said before, the Christian Zionists represent 5 to 10 million Americans in America. 5 to 10 million Christians. That's quite a large population. Now, their argument is that the end of times require that Israel first be established.
Yeah.
Okay, that's part of the end of times, the doctrine of the ends of times.
Yep.
And according to that, I'm no expert on it. You guys may know more than I do. But according to that, there will be some kind of destruction of the world, possibly including the destruction of Israel. And according to their theology, the American Christian Zionists, 2/3 of all Jews will be destroyed in that destruction process.
Are you talking about Armageddon?
Armageddon.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Okay.
The end of times is
Okay.
Armageddon.
Yeah. Right.
Now, by the way, Armageddon, this is an interesting thing for a lot of our audience out there that doesn't know about this stuff. There's a place called Megiddo in Israel. Megiddo is a place of many battles. Many battles in the history of mankind, in history of Middle East, and especially in that Israel area, have occurred in the location called Megiddo. Armageddon is derived from that. It is a place where final battles have been fought in the past, and that's where we get the term Armageddon from.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a
Artemis Megiddo.
Yeah. There's really a historical site with archaeological digs in Megiddo.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
there's like 6 centuries wide worth of different technological armor from bronze to iron to steel.
And fighting going on, and populated and depopulated by various peoples. Anyway, in the modern version,
Don't want to be in the chair.
in the modern version, that's all right.
Put her in it.
And in the modern, that's fine. In the modern version
Just stay there. No,
of
you'll be all right.
of the Armageddon, from what I have read, and I'm no expert on this, the claim is that 2/3 of the Jews will be annihilated, and the 1/3 will convert to Christianity, and then all of those will be evaluated with all the rest of the Christians for salvation. So that's sort of the ideology. I don't want to get too deep into that. What I'm going to do is say that there's a guy named John Hagee who is
Online minister.
online minister.
Yeah.
He's got a group called Christians United for Israel.
Oh yeah, that's guy.
Christians United for Israel. It is the largest pro-Israel American organization. Largest.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got his 5 to 10 million people. They're all pro-Israel. They're all thinking that Israel, whatever happens, we're going to support Israel. It doesn't matter. I don't care what they're doing. They actually support the far right of Israel. They support the far right, and they also apparently back ethnic cleansing and removal of Palestinians.
Oh boy.
So this is an American group who supports the far right and supports the ideology and the actions of the far right in Israel, the Zionists, the Israeli Zionists. Okay? So my question that you raised in the introduction is this actually being used as a tool by the Israeli Zionist hard right to try to create a lobby in the United States to promote the Zionist agenda in Israel? So do we have, in effect, a fifth column of Israeli Zionists in the United States who are becoming the tools of the Zionist movement in Israel?
Is that a denomination though? Like, are there actually churches that promote that? Is there an actual denomination or non-denominational? Because I haven't heard a lot about this.
Okay. Okay.
So
The Hagee is a minister, at least. He actually, believe it or not, he gave the benediction at the service or the ceremony where Trump swore in the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Hagee was the one who gave the benediction at that.
Really?
Yes, yeah, he did. Oh
my.
Let me see if I have any more information about that as far as his. He's got the Christians United for Israel is a organization, but is it a denomination? That's a good question. Is the Zionist? I don't know if it's actually a denomination or not.
I would say it's an ideology, such as other denominations have different ideologies that they follow, but
Right.
that's not considered a denomination, such as the rapture, for example. You know, the rapture, which is supposed to occur before Armageddon and all that. I don't know if you're familiar with those types.
Not totally.
Yeah.
I'm kind of out of the loop on some
Right.
of that.
Well, it's called millennialism, that type of thing. But
Okay. But what I'm
Revelation's a spicy topic.
what I'm
with
what I'm
it's very
different opinions.
spicy.
what I'm focusing on here is the overlap of this movement, which is tied closely to Israeli Zionism.
Yep.
It's literally like a parallel organization in the United States. Mr. Hagee being the champion of it, and being involved with things such as the promotion of the movement of the embassy in Jerusalem. Hagee was also a funder. They gave a lot of money to the what's called the Israeli Zionists. This is a big money pot, sending money over to the far right in Israel. They get lots of money. A lot of that money goes for new settlements in the occupied West Bank.
Of
Lots
course it does.
Yeah. So all these settlers that are building those houses out there, guess what? They're being financed by the American Zionist movement.
American dollars leaving America.
Yeah. But through this ideology, through this what's called religious ideology, they think they're doing good because they are, giving to Israel because God says, according to their view of the Bible, which is not in the real Bible, but it's in their view, that we must bless Israel to bless ourselves. That's the argument that they're being told.
I think if you look through history, though, those nations that have been against Israel don't survive. If you look at history,
Well, Israel itself didn't survive. If you look at history, okay,
that's
Israel has
because
been
they
out
became apostate.
Israel has been out of existence for
Right.
1,800
I
years.
know, I know.
So I can't,
Israel's one big yo-yo.
So
Yeah.
you're saying that the Zionists, you don't like this type of.
I think that we need to be very careful about allowing these what would be called Israeli proxy groups, Zionist Israeli proxy groups, to set up in our country and be used as a tool to influence our Congress in order to support Zionism in Israel. That's what I'm saying, that we need to be very careful. That's a foreign policy. In a way, you might draw a comparison of this and what's called the Confucius Institutes. Have you ever heard of those?
Oh, those! I hate those.
Yeah, anyway, the Confucius
out.
Institutes. Who was funding the Confucius Institutes? The Chinese. Where were the Confucius Institutes being set up? In the United States.
okay.
And what were they teaching? They were teaching how benevolent and wonderful the Chinese are. Okay? It was a propaganda group. Okay? And it was trying to influence our decision-making on China. So in the same way, this is a propaganda group that is trying to influence our decision-making on far-right Israel. Far-right Israel. Keep in mind, I'm totally in favor of Israel. I support it. But I am very concerned about the far-right Zionist aspect of it. That's what I'm concerned about. Now, using this as an example of the infiltration, this guy Hagee was funding a Zionist Israeli group called Im Tirzu, and another group that was funding Im Tirzu was called Shining City. It's based here in the United States, and it's owned and run by Mr. Lightstone. Now, Rabbi Ayyub Lightstone became a senior advisor to the U.S. ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. Okay? This guy who was funding this group called the Zionist group called Im Tirzu, Mr. Lightstone. Lightstone became a senior advisor to the ambassador, Mr. Friedman, from 2017 to 2021.
Well, that's some political incest if I've ever seen it.
Now, his skill set, because I looked at his biography, I said, how did he get to be a senior advisor? He has no foreign policy experience whatsoever. He is basically, a rabbi. He's a rabbi, and he did some cultural work with Jewish circles. But he has no background in foreign policy. And yet he's a senior advisor to the U.S. ambassador as the U.S. ambassador is negotiating the Abraham Accords.
Charming.
Okay? So this comes back to the issue of is this major foreign policy decisions of America being made by people who are essentially proxies of Israel. And are we, as an American government, going to and American people going to allow people who have a very narrow agenda and have already dedicated themselves to the cause of Israel to represent us in a fair and impartial manner in our diplomacy? And that, I say, is the problem.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to have impartiality in diplomacy with that level of embedding in other people's business.
That's exactly the point. That's my point. You get it, and I think that's all that needs to be said. I am for us having a well-balanced position in the Middle East. Israel is a player in the Middle East. If Israel gets off track and starts behaving in certain ways that we shouldn't support, then we should support them. And that does not make me anti-Israeli or anti-Semitic to say we shouldn't support them when they do things they shouldn't be doing. Okay? And we have our own national interests. The U.S. has its own national interests. And we need to support our national interests. In supporting Israel in this current situation, we are endangering and damaging our reputation around the globe.
Especially with people we have trade deals with, like Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, not just trade deals. No, I'm saying our reputation as an upholder of what's called the system of law and order and human rights. We are damaging that because when we continue to support what's going on in Israel today, for example, when the World Court decides that they have committed likely genocide, and we take no action to rein in our financing or support for Israel. Since that decision has been made,
South Africa was the one that called them out.
South Africa called him out, and South Africa has a long history of supporting the Palestinians as a what's called a mistreated people. In some ways, the South Africans see the Palestinians as being a second-class people living in their own land. Now that rings a bell with the South Africans.
Yeah, it's because the pot telling the kettle go in the washing machine.
Yeah. So that's part of why South Africa, there was somebody, one of my Jewish friends actually said that they think that South Africa's motivation in this was because they're an ally of Russia and that Russia is pushing to create this as a distraction over the war they're fighting in Ukraine. I personally think that is totally misled. I think that's.
I don't know if Russia has the bandwidth to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I don't. I don't either. So I think South Africa's real motivation, and this goes back to Nelson Mandela being a very pro-Palestinian himself. Their motivation is that what's happened in Palestine over the last 67 years, with their displacement internally and externally to Jordan and Syria and Lebanon, that is a mistreatment. It is making them either second-class citizens in their own land or displaced people outside of their own land. That's the motivation for South Africa in pursuing that. So anyway, my conclusion is that the Christian Zionist movement needs to be looked at carefully by all of us. We often just embrace these things as, they're a fellow Christian organization, but they are a fellow Christian organization who seems to be twisting the Bible, taking things that weren't actually there and interpreting them. As I've said, the printout says, promises great reward for those that support and assist the Jewish people. That's a direct quote from the IsraelBible.com. Okay? That's not in the Bible.
Promises great reward here or in eternity. See, that's the question.
Well, it doesn't matter. The reality is that's not the issue. The reward is not the issue. It's for assisting the Jewish people. It's like saying, unless you bless Israel, you can't be blessed by God.
As a nation. Yeah. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. Yeah. So and is that correct? Or is that incorrect?
I believe it's correct. They're the chosen people, and they do have a special place in history. I
I
mean,
think
you have
they're
to believe.
trying to make the round peg fit in the square hole with that, because there is a modicum of like what she's referring to, but also they're taking it a few steps beyond what the original intent was, I feel.
Yeah, yeah. To say Israel is a chosen people is not the same as to say that currently the Christian, the Israeli Zionists have the right to do whatever they want. Okay, and that's what Netanyahu's basically said in response to this International Court of Justice decision, which was a 15 to 2 decision. He has basically said, I don't care. You guys are a bunch of anti-Semitic. So, all the judges, including the American chief judge, he's accusing of being anti-Semitic for making that decision. So if you don't agree with me, you're anti-Semitic. That's what Benjamin is saying.
Well, I believe that it does need to be looked at. I agree with you on that, but I do believe there's some truth in it as well.
Right. Well, that's why we're having this kind of a discussion.
Yeah.
It's an important topic among many, and it does influence the attitude or the psychology of people and as they view this issue. And certainly 5 or 10 million of them support Israel come hell or high water. Come hell or Armageddon. Okay. Well, listen, that's about it for today.
Yeah, sure is.
But I appreciate the audience for hanging in there.
Yeah.
And you guys for your nice feedback. And we need conversations on this. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So God bless. And we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye, Facebook.
All right.
I thought we were going to talk about Revelation.
Well,